Hello, 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 and a very warm welcome to all of you to today's session. How are we doing? Hi, Kevin, what's up? Hi. Okay, let's see if we've started. Let me know if my audio video is clear and good to go. Okay, great. While I wait for everyone to join in, let me just set the agenda for today's class. The class is going to be a listening test live solving. So we've done a speaking test live solving already. Now listening, I believe, is the easiest part of the IELTS test. It's very difficult to not do well in the listening section. There's very little you have to do from your end. Basically just listening to information and reproducing it. The only problem here is losing your focus, getting distracted, having a bad attention span. That is the only thing that can hurt you when it comes to the listening part of the test, okay? Hi Jitin, hi Archit, hi Zara, hi Sukh, hi Manoj, hi Aryan. Okay, great. So without further ado, I think we should get started. Now, just a very quick reminder that in the listening part of the IELTS, you have 30 minutes, okay? You have 4 recordings. Okay, out of this, 2 are going to be conversations. So 2 people talking, and 2 is going to be like a speech, instructions, basically 1 person talking. So this is supposed to be 1. I wonder why I wrote 2. All right. So that's how it's divided up. Now in part 1, you're going to have a conversation. Part 2, it's going to be 1 person talking. Part 3, again a conversation. Part 4, 1 person talking. That's how it's going to go. All right. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. You get 30 minutes plus you get 10 minutes at the end for transfer time. So unless you have questions, unless we struggle a lot with something, the class today should not exceed 40 minutes because that's how much time you'll have in the exam as well, right? Hi, Ajra. How are you? Seems like the first time you've joined in today. Welcome to the class. Okay, so what we're going to do is very simple. I'm going to take you through all the parts and I'm going to play the recordings. So you need to listen to them with me and we're going to answer together. I need you to answer in the chat. It is very important. So take a look at the questions properly over here and answer in the chat. All right. Okay, now the audio itself is going to give us all the instructions that we need to follow. When we enter the listening portion of the test, the audio will give us instructions that, okay, you can now do this, you have some time to look at the questions, this is going to be this part of the test, etc., etc. So make sure that you're listening to the audio at all times. Another very, very, very important thing, which I will write down over here actually because you should never forget this. Can only listen once. So if you missed out on something because you got distracted, because your mind went elsewhere, because you started thinking about something totally irrelevant and stopped listening to the recording, you are going to miss out. You are not going to get a chance to listen to the recording again. There is no pardon. There is no, could you repeat that please in the listening portion of the test? All the audios are recorded in a way that the people are speaking very slowly, very clearly. So there's no scope for you not to understand something. If a word is said, that is also an answer, but it has confusing spelling. It is also spelled out for you in the recording. So they're actually trying very hard for you not to miss out on information. The only way you can miss out on information is if you get distracted, if you zone out. And trust me, zoning out happens a lot because the recordings are boring. Okay, let's be honest. Nobody, if this was like a podcast or if this was like some celebrity gossip, all of us would be totally tuned in listening. But it's just really boring academic or general instructions, those kind of conversations. Super boring, very easy to get zoned out. you need to keep reminding yourself that, okay, in the listening part of the IELTS, I need to focus, I need to focus, I need to be listening. Okay, you need to be in active listening mode. You cannot think about anything else. And trust me, this is very common. It happens that somebody zones out, they miss out on what's going on, they're unable to find the question that they're supposed to answer. Just because they zoned out and missed one answer, they are going to miss the rest of it as well, because then they start panicking. So, huge possibility that this might happen. So, you need to keep this in mind. All right. Do not get zoned out. And this is your practice. You can find out today if you're getting zoned out or not. If you feel like at some point you started thinking about something else, then I will give you possible solutions so that that doesn't happen again. Okay. So quickly, if you need to, go splash your face with some water, drink some water, drink coffee, do whatever it is that you want to stay focused. And then we're going to start the listening portion of the test. Okay. I'm not going to stop in the middle unless absolutely necessary. If you totally miss out on a conversation, if you have a question, if you're totally lost, then we'll have to take a pause. So we'll take a pause. Okay. What happened? Okay, should we get started? When I see thumbs ups or okay or let's get started, anything of that sort, any indicator that we're good to get started, I'm going to play the first recording. Okay? And if I'm by chance blocking the way or something, you can ask me to move out of the way also. That's fine. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Test 3. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between a woman who is selling some furniture and a man who is making inquiries about it. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
These are questions 1 to 5. You have time to take a look at them. So use this time to look at the questions. Okay?
You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hello, Carolyn speaking.
Hello, my name is Lincoln Faraday, and I'm ringing to see if you still have the bedroom furniture that you advertised for sale.
Yes, there are 3 items left. 2 bedside tables and a dressing table.
The woman said she has 3 items available, so 3 has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello, Carolyn speaking.
Hello, my name is Lincoln Faraday, and I'm ringing to see if you still have the bedroom furniture that you advertised for sale.
Yes, there are 3 items left. 2 bedside tables and a dressing table.
Oh, good. They're just the items I'm after. Tell me, what's the construction of the bedside tables? I mean, what are they made of?
Well, they're a matching pair and they're made of wood. But the wood has been painted. It's not brown anymore. It's been painted cream.
I see.
Each table has a shelf and 2 drawers. Oh, and the drawers have square brass handles. Quite modern and quite nice, really.
And what about the dimensions?
Well, each table is 50 centimetres wide.
That's good. Much bigger than that, and they wouldn't fit beside my bed. I live in an apartment where the bedrooms are quite small. What I really need to know is how tall they are. You see, my bed's quite high.
65 centimetres high and 45 centimetres deep.
Thanks. Just a couple more questions about the bedside tables. What condition are they in, and how much are they?
They're in perfect condition. There isn't a mark on them. I had them painted professionally, you know, so the finish is much better than you'd normally expect. As for how much, I think £15 each would be fair, but I'll only sell them as a pair, so that's £30 all up.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
Make sure you're reading the instruction, no more than one word and number or number. Okay, you need to pay attention to this instruction. Now we're going to hear about the dressing table.
Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Now, can you tell me about the dressing table?
Yes, it matches the other tables in colour and style.
Good. How many drawers does it have?
5 altogether. The bottom 2 drawers hold more as they're deep.
And the dimensions? How wide is it? That's all I need to know. It wouldn't be more than 1.5 meters, would it?
Well, just under actually. It's 1.25 metres across.
Does it have a mirror?
3.
Sorry?
It has 3 mirrors, you know, a central one and a narrower one on each side. And they're all adjustable.
I see. And the overall condition of the dressing table?
Well, it has a couple of scratches on the surface, but it's still in good condition, so I'm asking £50.
Could I call round and have a look later today?
What time were you thinking of?
In about half an hour.
Oh, yes, that's fine. By the way, my name is Carolyn Klein. It's on the gate at the front of the house.
Klein. Is that Kline?
That's right. And I live at 19 Domain Road.
Did you say the main road?
No, Domain. Domain Road.
That's just off Ashgrove, isn't it?
Yes. See you soon then.
Yes, in about 30 minutes.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, time to share the answers. Let's see what you guys have. Did you get the right answers or not? Let's start with here. So you saw the example, how it was written, the answer. So here the first thing we needed was the color. What did you all get for the color? What did you all get for the color?
Now turn to section 2.
We're out of the half minute we had. So quickly tell me. All right, great, Manoj. Cream. No, I'm asking about the bedside tables one. The color, everybody got it, was cream. Good job. And she didn't say it, that's okay. She didn't say it directly. She said, you know, they're not brown because they've been painted and their color is cream. So a lot of you might have been like, okay, she said brown. Brown's a color. Let me write down brown. This happens a lot more than you realize if you're not properly listening to everything, right? Because first she said, you know, you heard green. She said cream and not green. That's also something that can happen. Okay, so I mean, you'll have headphones, so it'll be a lot more clearer when you're listening in the test. But yeah, but you need to look out for these things. Okay, next, drawers, 2 in each table, handles made of what? What were the handles made of? And did you all pay attention to this? That your answer shouldn't be more than one word and or number. So you cannot write two words. What were the handles made of? Did you catch that? Nobody. Archit caught it, but see, Archit, you misspelled the second word and you also wrote two words. The instruction clearly said one word. So when it's just one word, we let go of the adjective. Adjective is no longer required if it's just one word. What is the material? Just like the... Yes, this is an IELTS class. Just like the material for the tables was wood, what was the material of the handle? It was a kind of metal. Nobody got this. Nobody was able to hear this properly. None of you were able to hear this properly. Archit got close, but not exactly right. Nobody got it. Now you won't get this chance in the IELTS. I'm just doing this for you.
2 bedside tables and a dressing table.
You should answer the question.
Yes, there are 3 items left.
My table.
Painted cream.
I see.
Each table has a shelf and 2 drawers. Oh, and the drawers have square brass handles. Quite modern and quite nice, really.
And what about the dimensions?
Well, each...
Did you hear that? Brass. Are you not aware of what brass is? Bronze is close, but have you never heard of brass? It's a very common material that is used. It's a very common alloy that is used to make stuff like handles. Okay? It could be like cupboard handles, door pulling handles. It's very commonly used. Okay? So material here was brass. It wasn't bronze. It was brass. What about the next one? I have all the answers written down. I was doing it simultaneously. What was the answer for the next one? Height was... So first, the lady shared the width. They spoke about the width for a very long time. But then the man was like, I don't care about the width. I need to know how tall it is. Tall is related to height. So how tall was it? Very good, Zunera. Great job, Jitin, Archit. Archit? 50? Archit, did you use the width as or something else as the height? It was 65 centimeters. Archit, do you want me to play it again for you? Or did you just zone out as expected? Because a lot of people zone out. Did you zone out? Is that what happened? Yes, very good. Sritam. Kevin, finally you got a right answer. Congratulations. Zara, great job. Next, condition. What was the condition like? She specifically used one word to describe it. What was that word? What was the word? Very good, Zunera. We can use number. What does it say? Read the instruction. No more than one word and or a number. So you can use a word plus number. You can use just a word. You can use just a number. These are the 3 possibilities. Nothing else. Okay? So a word and a number in combination is also fine. Perfect condition, perfect answer. And finally, what was the price? First, she told us the individual prices for both. And then she said together, it's going to be Very good. So, please learn the symbols, okay? Pounds, dollars, know the symbols so that you can write the symbols, okay? Great job. Next set of answers. It's going to get harder than this. Okay, so be prepared. Next we had, so I'm just going to give you the answers now. Just cross check if you got it right. There were 5 draws. 2 were deep, or you can also say they were deeper, right? Because they hold a lot of stuff. She said that, right? Next, here we needed the width. The width was 1.25 meters. 2 small, 1 large mirror, and all of them were adjustable. She said they were all adjustable. Condition was good and price was 50 pounds. Next we had just the address. So that was 19 Domain Road, right? Did you get it right? Did you get all the answers right? Great job. Fab work. Now we have to get better. Okay? No more mistakes allowed, and it's going to get harder. Okay? So be prepared. The domain one, accidentally I changed the slide very last minute, but still because she spelled out the word, we had time for it, right? That's okay, Kevin. We will make up for it in part 2. Okay, let's look. Part 2, the reason why I'm showing this to you first, it's going to be more complicated. Okay, it's going to be a bit more complicated, and the image in the test itself was a little choppy. So if you can't see something and because of that you miss out on a mark or 2, that's fine. But I will help you out wherever I can, okay? Now here are the instructions. Questions 11 to 17, you have to label the plan. What you have to do is you have to write the correct letter A to J next to questions 11 to 17. So when he gives us time to look at the questions, we will look at the questions, okay? All right.
Listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
It's so nice.
What? Let's first look at the questions. He didn't give us time. Okay, you will get time to look at the questions. It's okay. So here, what we have to do is, next to these are our questions. Whenever you see numbers, those are your questions. You will randomly see numbers next to a blank or otherwise, those are your questions. Okay. So here, next to these questions, we have to write the letter, corresponding letter. So whichever area she's talking about in the map, we have to match it with one of these places and we have to write that letter over here. Okay? All right? Ready?
Nice to see so many people here on our open day. I hope you'll be impressed by what you see and that you'll all decide to join up. We have tried to cover all aspects of sport and fitness here at the centre. Well, let's start, shall we? As we're standing here at reception looking down the long corridor, you'll notice the car park on your left, where most of you have parked, asks you to reverse into the parking spaces for safety reasons. Also, this morning, a couple of keen potential members rode their bikes right in through the door instead of leaving their bikes outside there on your right where the secure bike stands are. You may be wondering why there are so many mothers arriving with little children. As we proceed, you'll see that this first room on your right is a creche where you can leave your little ones for up to 2 hours and they'll be expertly supervised while you work out. After the creche, on the same side of the corridor, is the male locker room with showers, spa and sauna. Opposite that, on your left, there's a staircase leading to the mezzanine floor. You'll not only get a great view out over the playing fields, but you'll also find a coffee shop and snack bar selling a range of wholesome food and drinks, protein shakes, fruit smoothies, that kind of thing. We won't go up the stairs at this point. I'll give you some time later when you can explore at your leisure. Most of you in the group are women, so next, let me point out the women's locker room, which has the same facilities as the men's, things like showers, spa and sauna. It's separated from the men's locker room by an office, which the staff mainly use for administrative purposes. As we move on the same side of the corridor as the stairs, you'll see the entrance to the main hall, where they hold yoga classes, aerobics and so on. On the wall here, there is a timetable of all group classes, and it is updated regularly. Now, opposite the hall is the gymnasium itself. Go ahead, have a look. Impressive, isn't it? Very spacious, light and airy with all the most modern equipment. As we continue down the corridor past the main hall, on the same side, there is a conference room. This is mainly used when the centre is hosting a big sports event of some kind. It gives the officials a quiet place to gather and have meetings and so on. You'll have seen the 400-metre athletics track on your way in beside the car park. We have some pretty big athletics conventions here. Well, after a strenuous workout, I bet there's nothing you'd like more than a swim in the aquatic complex. But first, these rooms on our right are all part of the sports medicine clinic, where you have access to a doctor, physiotherapist, massage therapist, podiatrist, and even a sports psychologist if you need one. Of course, you'll need to make appointments, but if you have any questions, just pop in and see the clinic receptionist and she'll help you out. Okay, let's go through the turnstile ahead of us. And here we are, in the aquatic centre. Turn left, past the pool shop where you can buy or hire goggles, swim caps and such like, and we're outside, poolside. Beautiful, isn't it? Especially on a day like today. Go on, dip your toes in the water, and if that's not warm enough for you, then I'll take you to the indoor pool, which is less than half the size, but heated to 32 degrees. Let's go back past the pool shop and through the double doors to the indoor pool. Well, that's all I have time to show you. Let's go back to the reception area, and if you like, we can run through some details about opening hours, membership and so on.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20.
"18" is just one MCQ, and 19 and 20 means you have to choose 2 letters here, okay?
Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
Now, in this brochure, you'll see the opening hours. The centre is open 7 days from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, except for public holidays, which follows Sunday's timetable. On Saturdays, we open at the same time as weekdays.
One second, sorry, because I went to the next slide just to make sure that's not being covered first. I'll just rewind and play that for you again.
18 to 20.
Okay, because...
Now, in this brochure, you'll see the opening hours. The centre is open 7 days from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, except for public holidays, which follows Sunday's timetable. On Saturdays, we open at the same time as weekdays and close a little earlier. So that's 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturdays, and on Sundays, everyone gets a sleep in. You can come in between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Membership fees cover access to the gym, group classes and the pool. But if you want to join a swim squad to train with a coach, you should inquire at reception for prices and timetables. In the gym, personal training is available from one of our dedicated team of trainers, and reception will have more information on who is free when and what hourly rates apply. However, there is always a certificated instructor on hand in the gym at all times for advice and help. And once your membership is paid, you are entitled to a free health assessment, and you'll get a program designed to meet your own particular needs. You'll need to book a time for this with the gym instructor. Now, if you're a mum or dad...
Now, again, just for your benefit, I'm going to rewind that a little bit because I changed the slide right as she was talking about the membership fee.
More information on who is free when and what hourly rates apply. But if you want to join us, come in between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Membership fees cover access to the gym, group classes, and the pool. But if you want to join a swim squad to train with a coach, you should inquire at reception for prices and timetables. In the gym, personal training is available from one of our dedicated team of trainers, and reception will have more information on who is free when and what hourly rates apply. However, there is always a certificated instructor on hand in the gym at all times for advice and help. And once your membership is paid, you are entitled to a free health assessment, and you'll get a program designed to meet your own particular needs. You'll need to book a time for this with the gym instructor. Now, if you're a mum or dad, remember you can leave your children in the creche. They take babies from 6 weeks old. Bookings are essential though, and you'll have to check the website for times and pricing. Members are also entitled to tennis lessons on a Tuesday or Thursday from 9 till 10:30. But bookings are essential, so ring Natalie. Her number is here in the brochure to reserve a place. Well, I think that's it. Any questions?
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, so that was section 2. Because of, see, when you're doing it on paper, you have it all in front of you in one sheet of paper. Because these were slides, I had to maneuver a little bit, and so you might have missed out on something, but still, I think should have been able to figure this out. How difficult did you find this? Did you think this was very difficult? Quickly tell me, how difficult did you think this was? I don't think it was that hard. It's just that it's the medium. It's like, because I was changing slides, you would have gotten a bit confused. I understand that. Okay? All right. So did you get all the letters? Now here the biggest problem was following the map and making sure that when she's on the left, you're on the left, and when she's on the right, you're on the right. There are some indicators. What were the indicators? The indicators were, this is the car park, this is the mezzanine, this is the turnstile, this is the indoor pool. So the things that are already marked will help you understand where you are. Okay? Now, how did she begin? She began by saying, okay, you walk in through the reception. A lot of you drove in today, so you must have parked your cars in the car park. So, car park is over here. And then she made like this snarky remark about how people just took their bikes right in, even though there is a place to park the bikes, which is on the opposite side of the car park. So, what will the opposite side be? Right here, where you have dedicated bike parking spots. So what was your answer for 11? Where are the bike racks? Where are the bike racks? Yeah, I know this one was a bit tricky. The bike racks are over here. So your answer would be J. Then she said there's a creche, and right after the creche, if you keep walking, there's the men's locker room. So your answer here would be I. Then she's like, let's go to the opposite side. So if you're going to the opposite side, you come here where the mezzanine level is, and there she talks about finding coffee and snacks and whatever. So that is your cafe. Then she's like, now let me take you back to the women's locker room. How did she explain this? This was a bit confusing. She's like, the women's locker room has the same facilities as the men's locker room and it's on the same side. But obviously, you have to separate the men's locker room and the women's locker room. And she said the men's and women's locker room is separated by the administrative office. So if this is the men's locker room, this somewhere here is the women's locker room, there is one room separating it, then this should be H. Okay, then she took us back to this side, spoke about this entire room where you do a bunch of things. It's like, if you keep walking down that same area, and on the left side you will find a conference room. So conference room was B. Then before she took us here, she took us to the right side, which was where all your sports medicine clinics were, where she went on and on about the kind of doctors you will find and the kind of treatment they'll do. Okay, and finally over here, when you go through the turnstile, there is a pool shop, which is A. So this was how you were supposed to mark your answers. Now, did you get a lot of these right? She spoke, G is supposed to be the women's locker room. Okay, but that's not a question. So we don't need to do anything with this number. G is supposed to be the women's locker room, but because that was not a question, we can just ignore it, right? Next, we had to choose the correct letter A, B or C where the sports center is open on public holidays from. So we needed the public holiday timings. The problem is she did not give us the public holiday timings directly. She split it into two different things. First, she said that public holidays follow Sunday timings. Okay. Then she gave us weekday timings. Then she gave us Saturday timings, and then she gave us Sunday timings, right? So there was a lot of time that passed between saying that public holidays follow Sunday timings and then actually giving the Sunday timings. That was a bit confusing, but if you were paying attention, you could have easily gotten A as your answer. And finally, here we are. Which two services are covered by the membership fee? What did you get here? So 18 everybody found easy. That's good. That means you were paying attention. Here again, because I switched the slide when she was giving the information, I replayed it. So there is a possibility that some of you missed out on the audio. Lots of conflicting answers over here. Lots of conflicting answers. Okay. Lots of conflicting answers, so I'll give you another chance.
To train with a coach, you should
18 to 20. Now listen.
7 days from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to a little earlier, p.m. Membership fees cover access to the gym, group classes and the pool.
So she said three things. Membership fee covers access to gym, group classes and the pool. None of them are options. So obviously now we need to look out for more information. Okay?
But if you want to join a swim squad to train with a coach, you should inquire at reception for prices and timetables. In the gym, personal training is available from one of our dedicated team of trainers, and reception will have more information on who is free when and what hourly rates apply. However, there is always a certificated instructor on hand in the gym at all times for advice and help. And once your membership is paid, you are entitled to a free health assessment, and you'll get a program designed to meet your own particular needs. You'll need to book a time for this with the gym instructor. Now, if you're a mum or dad, remember you can leave your children in the creche. They take babies from 6 weeks old. Bookings are essential though, and you'll have to check the website for times and pricing. Members are also entitled to tennis lessons on a Tuesday or Thursday from 9 till 10:30. But bookings are essential, so ring Natalie. Her number is here in the brochure to reserve a place. Well, I think that's it.
Does that make sense now? So all of you who picked A and B, those two things are not included in the membership, because that's the first thing she said. What did she say? That once you pay your membership fee, you get group lessons, access to pool, and she said one more thing that is not a part of this list. Right after that, she mentioned swim squads. But even after saying swim squads, she immediately said that you can figure out the price for this at the reception. Now, if this was included in your membership fee, why would you have to find out the price separately? Would you need to find out the price separately? No, right? And then same thing with personal training. She said personal training is available, but you have to pay for it. So off the bat, you have eliminated both these options. Now program design is given to you, but is that a service? So now you're left with three options. All three: parents get child minding, so they have a creche available. You're also entitled to tennis lessons. Entitled to tennis lessons. So that means that's also free, right? So now if you are stuck between these three choices, all of them seem to be included in the membership fee. Which two are actually services? So you're getting creche and you're getting tennis lessons. A program design is just like a piece of paper, a pamphlet that you are receiving, right? So that will count as a good, not a service, right? So that's why we go with C and E, not D, E. Okay? Are we ready for the next part of the test now? Part 3 of the test. How are you finding it so far? Is this your first time taking this? Shandilia, you'll have to find out from your university. Okay, are we ready? So part 3, here we have to complete notes. What does the instruction say? No more than 2 words for each answer. So you can write 1 word, you can write 2 words, but you cannot write 3 words. Okay? Clear? You have to complete notes from 21 to 25. These are the notes. So now here you're filling in the information yourself. All right?
Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You will hear a conversation between a research student, Jeremy, and his supervisor. They are talking about the process of having a research project published in a journal. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Use this time, look at the questions. You're making a checklist to get your research paper published. So look out for the keywords. Answers can be 2 words also. Don't have to be just 1 word, okay? You can also have 2-word answers here.
Listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
So, you're nearly ready to submit your article to an academic journal, are you?
Yes, I think so. I just wanted to go over all the things I need to do before I submit it. And then I wanted to go over the submission process with you.
Great. So, firstly, you need to write an abstract. Make sure it's short and concise.
Of course. I forgot all about that. And what about key words?
Yes, a lot of students overlook this part and just jot down whatever comes to mind. But take some time to make a list of keywords that are accurate and relevant.
Okay. Another thing. Could you have a look at my article before I submit it?
Absolutely. Actually, at least 2 senior staff members should always read through a final draft before submission. Do you mind if I give it to Professor Johnson to have a look at as well?
Not at all. I'd be glad to have the feedback.
Do you know which journal you want to submit to yet?
Not yet. I have a short list of about 3 that I'm interested in.
Make that decision soon, because you'll need to adjust your article so that it matches the style guide of the journal you are submitting to.
I bet that can take a while.
Yes, but after that, you are just about ready to submit. One more thing, you'll have to sign the copyright form, just confirming that it's your own work, and then you're good to go.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Now, the submission process. How does it work exactly?
Well, the first thing is to just send it off. You've got to send in the manuscript before anything else can happen.
Sure. And then should I call to check if they have received it?
No need for that, no. All you have to do is just log on to your email regularly, because you will get a submission confirmation once they have processed the manuscript.
And that will have comments on what they thought of it.
No comments yet. That email is just to let you know they have received it. The next stage is what is known as peer review. This is when experts in the field review your manuscript and decide whether to accept it.
They'll never accept me. I'm only a master's student.
Don't worry about that, Jeremy. It's all done through a double-blind method. That means that whoever reads your manuscript has no idea whether you are a grad student or a Nobel Prize laureate. They'll only be judging your work, not you.
Well, that's good to hear. And then what, once they've made their decision?
Well, there are 4 possible outcomes. You might get an acceptance, but a first-off acceptance is very, very rare. Don't pin your hopes on it. You could also get a rejection, but these don't happen very often either. I don't think this will be a problem.
What do you think I'll get?
If you're very lucky, you'll get a conditional acceptance. This means that they've accepted the article and it will be published, but you need to tweak a few things first. A sentence here, a heading there, nothing major.
That sounds good.
But to be honest, you will probably end up with a revise and resubmit. This means they are definitely interested, but you will need to rework the paper before it's accepted. The necessary changes will be outlined by the reviewers.
Okay. So I just fix the things that need changing and present it again?
Yes, but include a cover letter that discusses the changes you have made. The same goes for a conditional acceptance, actually. It helps the reviewers see that you've taken their criticism seriously.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answer.
All right, that's the end of section 3. I think easier than section 2. What did you think? Yes, no, maybe? Let's see. So, first thing was write, and very easy answer here. It was said quite directly. So, no possibility of missing out on this. What was it? What was it? What was it? Quickly. No, J. It was write and abstract. Keep it concise. Concise is a synonym of brief. Okay, so abstract was your correct answer over here. What about the second one? List relevant. She said it like 2 times, this word. 2 words actually. Depends. Very good. Next was, have two academic advisors read over your. She used two very specific words for this. You could have thought the answer is article, but Manoj, don't write accurate keywords because relevant is already there. List relevant, accurate keywords. That doesn't make sense. List relevant keywords. Very good, Archit. Very good, Zanera. Your final draft. Great job. Choose the journal you want to submit to and then apply the journals. 24. Apply the journals. Whoops. Did you catch this one? Nobody caught this? Style guide. Very good, Manoj. Great job. Not guidelines to yours. You cannot write. Okay, don't write more than the limit that is given, which is 2 words. And it specifically said style guide, not guidelines. So, use the exact word that was said, okay? J, the exact words that was said were style guide. And finally, what you have to sign the, this one was easy, copyright form. Easy? Very good, Archit. Okay, now the next one, again, no more than 2 words. So here we are making a flow chart. What is the first thing that needed to be done? Submit manuscript, right? Then you had to check email for confirmation of submission. Very good. Next stage was the peer review stage. There 4 possible outcomes could happen. First was acceptance or rejection. Next you had conditional acceptance or revise and resubmit. Then here revise and send back with a cover letter, right? So quite easy. Not peer review. See, Zara, here's where you need to make sure you know these terms a little bit. It is called peer review. So in the scientific community or any academic community, this is done a lot, where if you are submitting to an actual proper journal, okay, and the way you know that the integrity of the journal is maintained is if everything that is submitted in it is peer reviewed. So generally people of the same academic circle with, you know, PhDs in the same discipline or the same field will read whatever is written, and if they approve it, only then it can be finally submitted, okay? This is called a peer review, not a peer review, all right? Great. All correct? Wow, Archit. Great job. Now let's see if you can get the last one all right. Okay, this is a summary. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. Let's get the recording.
Section 4. You will hear a talk on the importance of soil in organic agriculture. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Oh no. summary completion.
Listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40. Welcome to this talk on soil science and organic farming. Dirt, soil, earth, loam, mud, or dust, it doesn't matter what you call it, is of primary importance in the production of food and other crops. Most people think of it just as a substrate or medium in which plants grow, but it's more than that. It's actually a living entity. Or it should be if it's healthy, and human health is affected by the health of the soil. Healthy, living soil is literally crawling with life. There are the obvious earthworms, which burrow in the soil and help to aerate and improve it, beetles and other hard-backed insects, and various invertebrates like centipedes. Then there are fungi and bacteria, also living forms. Healthy soil needs food, air, and water to help plants grow. And the more nutrients in plants, the more available for humans and livestock. It stands to reason, therefore, that plants grown in poor soil will have few nutrients to pass on to the consumer, whose well-being will be worse off over the long term. So, where do plants get their nourishment? Most of it comes from the soil. Some nutrients are made up of minerals from the earth, while others come from dead plant and animal matter, which is broken down over time by the living insects and other organisms in the soil. Plants depend on these little living creatures to convert minerals and other vital elements into a utilizable form that can be taken up by the plants. And it's a synergistic relationship. In turn, the plants assist those helpful organisms by releasing sugars and enzymes back into the soil. Before I go any further, let's take a look at the structure of soil. Now,
Okay, now we need to label the diagram. Write no more than 2 words for each answer for 34 to 36.
if you look at the diagram, you will see that soil is made up of many different layers. Let's start at the bottom. This is the bedrock under all the other layers. The layer above that is called regolith. Here, the bedrock is slightly broken up, but plant roots don't penetrate this layer. Moving up the chart to the next layer, we come to the subsoil, which contains clay and mineral deposits. On top of that is the alluviation or leaching layer. This is quite light in color and is mostly just sand and silt. As we get near the surface, we find the topsoil. You will hear a lot of talk about topsoil amongst farmers and other agriculturalists. It's the most important layer of all because it's where seeds germinate and roots grow. Now, at the top of the chart, you will see a comparatively thin layer. This is organic matter that is still in the process of decomposition. It mostly consists of leaf litter and humus. Just think of the surface of the forest floor, partly decayed leaves and twigs, that sort of thing. As you can imagine, good soil forms very slowly over time, but it can be lost very rapidly through erosion. And in addition, soil quality.
Okay, now we're going to quickly just look at the others. Again, no more than 2 words. So 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay?
It can be affected by pollution due to forms very slowly over time, but it can be lost very rapidly through erosion. And in addition, soil quality can be affected by pollution due to anything from industrial waste to the artificial fertilizers used by conventional farmers, which have been shown to suppress the diverse life forms in the soil. This is why organic agriculture is the way of the future. Let's take a quick look at the conventional system, which is often based on monoculture, the production of a single large crop. It relies on chemicals for fertilizer and pest control. It is also becoming an increasingly common practice to use genetically engineered seeds. And more chemicals are used to control insects and fungi, which attack crops in storage and during transportation. Also, did you know that there is no requirement for conventional growers to maintain records of their production practices? Organic growers, on the other hand, choose the most environmentally friendly options for dealing with pests and disease problems, working towards prevention in the first place. Some of the strategies they employ include alternating the crops grown in each field, as opposed to monocropping. Because different plants add different nutrients to the soil, by rotating crops, the soil is naturally replenished. This can do away with the need for pesticides, because the problem insects' life cycles are naturally interrupted. Surrounding crops with green waste can not only conserve moisture in the soil, but it can prevent weeds from springing up, and it also feeds the beneficial microorganisms. When it's ploughed under, it feeds the soil by building more organic matter. Organic farmers often release beneficial insects as predators, which precludes the need for artificial pesticides. Animal manure, combined with green waste materials, correctly composted to kill pathogens and weed seeds, fertilizes the soil in a way that encourages life rather than suppressing it. And, by the way, use of manure in organic farming is highly regulated. In fact, all agricultural inputs are evaluated for their long-term effects on the environment, regardless of whether they are synthetic or natural. To sum up, organic farming is the only sustainable way of feeding the people on this planet.
I'm just gonna stop the recording there because we're done with our answers. So, do we have everything? How was this? Was it easier? Was it more difficult? What did you think? What's the answer to the first one? If soil is healthy, it is a blank teeming with life, such as worms. Very straightforward answer. What should it be? Oops. Let's change the color. What did I do? Okay. No. Okay. Weird. Sorry. Here we go. Living entity should have been your answer. Very good. Great job. No, you don't say if soil is healthy, it is a living soil. I think he very clearly said living entity. So instead of repeating the word soil again and again, living entity becomes a better answer, right? Then if plants are grown in poor soil, they will lack. Again, an easy answer here, nutrients, and human health will suffer. Plants are nourished by organic matter, blank, and other essential elements. What was the answer here? Yes, very good. Great job, everyone. Perfect. What about 33? He just listed a bunch of things. Very good. Minerals. So you have organic matter, minerals, and other essential elements that are broken down. Then we had to label the diagram. Layers of soil, not more than 2 words. So now this started at the bottom. We went from bottom to top. So if you got confused, you still had these in the middle to help you realize that you are going in the wrong direction. What was 34? Bedrock. This was quite easy actually. Subsoil and topsoil, right? Bedrock, subsoil, topsoil. Oh, Kevin, that means you must know about the layers of soil because you studied it. That's great. So you retain information. That's very good. And then we had to complete the notes about the problems that soil is facing in general, which is erosion, number 1. Second was pollution from various sources, including chemical fertilizers. Then we had 2 farming methods. First, we spoke about conventional farming methods, coming down to 38. Synthetic fertilizer and chemicals are used for pest control. Then so industrial waste was cited as one of the sources of pollution. So just like erosion is a problem, pollution is a problem. The industrial waste and use of chemical fertilizers are various sources of pollution, right? And again, there is no need of documentation for very good production practices. And then we just had one question here, but he spent a lot of time talking about crop rotation. So that's done on purpose. The reason why he spent so much time talking about these things is that the listener will zone out and will miss out on the relevant information that they're looking for. So until you have answered all of your questions, don't stop listening. What was the answer for 40? Use of insects as natural what? Did you miss out on this? Natural pesticides, which is why you don't need artificial pesticides for organic farming. All right? These insects eat the pests. They are predators. So you use predator insects to get rid of the pests. Okay? That brings us to the end. It's okay if you got 1 or 2 wrong. This was your first time and you did a fab job. Most of you gave correct answers. When you're listening through headphones and when it's in a paper or in a computer screen in front of you, it will become a lot faster and a lot easier. So if you were able to do this process, then you will definitely be able to do that process, because here you're listening to me, you're watching what's on my screen, and you're answering questions. There you are completely focused because there's a paper in front of you, there are headphones, nobody else, right? Here, there might be people in the chat distracting you. In the test, there is nobody in the chat distracting you. So if you can do this in this environment, then you can definitely do it in the test. Not so hard. There might be situations where sometimes they say a word that you're not aware of. For example, the peer review thing can happen, like brass. A lot of you didn't know what brass was, so you thought she said bronze. That can happen. So make sure you're practicing with these enough so that you have a general idea of the kind of words that are said. And to improve listening comprehension, we'll do a very another session very soon where I'll just give you tips and tricks, and we'll keep practicing like this also, so don't worry. Once we're done with all the sections, we will revisit and we will do more tests together to improve our speed, accuracy, all of that. Kevin, that's just 6 marks in the listening test. For your overall band, you need to do all of the tests, right? See, you can easily get band 8 in listening because at most you're getting 2 answers wrong, right? At most. That too because of a silly mistake or a silly error. Otherwise, if you're paying attention, then I don't think any of you should have trouble answering the questions. The only issue is genuinely zoning out, not listening, not paying attention. Because sometimes the information is given in a convoluted manner, like the public holiday, Sunday information, right? It's not given directly. So for that, you need to make sure you're listening carefully, all right? So that brings us to the end of today's session. If you had fun, found it useful, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like the session, comment, share it with your friends, spread the word, and follow us on all our socials so you don't miss out on updates. I will see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care, don't stress, don't fret, and bye-bye.